Right, so episode 2, we've got Marcus Jones. Marcus, thanks for doing it, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Mate, I'm excited for this one.
For anyone who doesn't know, he's the host of the Boost to Better podcast, which I was a guest on. Was it just over a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what I noticed when I was on and when I've been listening to Marcus's podcasts is he likes to start his podcasts in. He does two things at the beginning. He announces how many days sober he is. So, do you know that off the top of your head, mate? Or
I checked, so 1,803 days.
class.
So just over 1,800 days. Pretty
That's
fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah, mad. And the other thing he does is he asks his guests what booze the better means to them. So I'm going to flip the script a bit today, mate, and ask you what does booze the better mean to Marcus Jones?
Oh, that's a good one, man.
It's your question.
Yeah. I suppose to me, so the premonition obviously of the show is like how that stopping booze has fully transformed my life for the good. But I suppose the better side of it is like, everything is better, and everyone around me has noticed that I've got better. I think, but it's not. I think it's more than just the surface stuff, if that makes sense. So, like, obviously, my energy's loads better. My bank balance is better. But I would say about the bank balance is interesting because you learn to spend that fucking money on that money's that money's not in my fucking. I wish it was in my bank account, and I wouldn't be fucking here. I'd be in Barbados or something. But I think it's the little things, like. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it, but stupidly, I'm putting it out there to the fucking world as well now. So stupidly, I've decided to run the Advent calendar. So basically, it's the combination of like day 1K, day up until day 24. The 24th will be 24K. Obviously, the other one 23K before that. So it actually equates to, in total, 300K before Christmas. And when I say booze to better, I mean, like, these stupid fucking ideas, I don't know where it come from, but I wouldn't be doing these these things. And I just think it's made me think bigger, and that has then become better. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
probably a waffly one, but
definitely. Yeah. I mean, just what you say, I didn't know you before while you were drinking, but I've seen like on your social media and you share quite often like photos of you and stuff before, and it's a massive transformation. Like it's like you're like two totally different people. Like you look like two totally different people. Just your face and everything. You can tell when people aren't drinking when the face is like less bloated, isn't it? And it's like,
yeah, exactly that. And I think it's like I try and with my clients get them to take a picture of them prior to this, like however many days they work with me, but I try and get them to take a picture before, but also understand, like as I've just mentioned, about how much they're spending before, because I find that if I asked you how much you spend on booze at when in your heyday, you'd probably for the tape say X amount, but it's normally a bit more and some, because you don't realize the actual cost lies underneath that. The takeaways, the taxis, the fucking missed days at work, all of that. So I think that when you mentioned there in terms of the transformation, again, it's the other stuff, like the sleep, like the shit that may seem boring to people, that makes it like so worthwhile, like. And if I'm boring by going to bed at 8 o'clock and getting 8 hours sleep, I'm cool with that now. I wasn't, but I am now, because I think that I'm not getting any older, and like I've just had my Whoop stats through for the year, and it says I'm fucking healthy wise, I'm 10 years younger than my actual age. So I've got to be doing something right, and I think the transformation, like for me, is between my two ears as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So was there like a moment where you was it a pivotal moment where you decided like enough was enough, or was it like a build up of like lots of little moments when you just decided that you were going to stop drinking?
Yeah, I think it was definitely an over it was definitely a decision that was well overdue. I think that I just think that a number of a number of occasions happened to. So one of the bigger ones was I had a 10-day, I think it was a week or 10 days, like all inclusive cruise with my parents, because I was living with them since my divorce. I was living with them, so it was all inclusive. So I was still drinking heavily, and I've got like I haven't said this on any podcast. I don't know why I need to, but I've got like a acid reflux, and obviously like doing like drinking and doing gear and doing whatever, it just adds to that like reflux and things like it's horrible. But like after the cruise, I was like, oh my God, this is pretty painful. But I was only back for one day, and this was all pre-planned. I had a planned holiday to Vegas for 4 days, like four nights, 5 days, with my best mate, who was my best mate back then. And at the end of that, because I'd like no sleep, I think I had like probably 10 hours, and I was just I was a walking mess, but also I was throwing up blood. So that was one occasion, but I chose to then have like I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks off it, and then be like, oh, yeah, that's fine now. I went to the doctors, got what I needed to, antibiotics, and then went back. I've also, in this time period throughout this, had like 3.5 grand worth of gum reconstruction as well. So I'm like, this is also adding to my health, but I'm still choosing to do it. And then I was like, and then my nephews, this is the big part. My nephews drew a Christmas card of me, like slumped over the desk with like booze and like cans and like this is Uncle Marcus, and that still then didn't really resonate. And then the big turning point is I decided to go like sober for like dry Jan until we were going on holiday to Lanzarote, me and the fiance, and she got on the piss that night. We were going out in February, and she got on the piss, and I still wasn't drinking till like the March. So she got on the piss, come home from London. She was working for Lab Bible, and we went out, and she got absolutely wasted, and I saw her put herself in like a vulnerable positions, running in the middle of a road, and just doing crazy shit. But that crazy shit was, I was just visualizing that was me, and I was like, it's crazy. All them things prior to that lead up, and it was someone else's actions that made me then make that decision. That like in the morning after that had happened with me and my fiance, I just said to her, I'm not doing this anymore. And it's crazy how that someone else's actions then made me do that. But yeah, it was a number of events that led to this one event, and it it's crazy.
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting that it was like you come to that realization yourself, because like with me, it was other people what I seen like that inspired me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there was like, well, there's three main people who I was most inspired by, and the first one was I was listening to, do you know Ollie Ollerton, the
Yeah.
SES? So I think they were filming the second season of that or something. I was listening to, I think it was a podcast or his book or something. And he said on that he missed the rap party of the they all went out on the drink afterwards, and he missed it because he doesn't drink. And I just remember thinking, that's a bit weird, like it's a bit strange. That was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And then obviously I was exposed to more people. I joined Paul Mort's program, and obviously Paul doesn't drink, yourself. So there was there was Ollie, Paul, and you. There were the three main people which sort of shifted my perception on it a little bit and made me think a little bit differently. And obviously start to do. They've got longer and longer. I mean, the stints that I've done like without drink. My most recent one was like 13 months. I did have a drink a couple of weeks ago though, but I, I didn't enjoy it. You'll be pleased to know
Yeah.
especially I didn't enjoy the aftermath of it. That's for sure. But yeah, it's interesting that you didn't. There wasn't like you come to that conclusion on your own. Like,
It's mental really, because I think that, you know, for the listeners to this, and I appreciate your kind words, but you can see it even in your face, like the difference in like like you said, the puffiness. You're obviously like I think it's interesting because that 13 months, like if you look back, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, if you said to the future Dan, you'll drink once within 13 months. And I think it's perspective, isn't it? Because a lot of people look at it and go, oh, I'm back to zero, I'm back to day one. But really, it's once in 13 months. How fucking amazing is that?
yeah,
And and it's hard, isn't it? Because I think that a lot of people are waiting for that rock bottom, or waiting for that. Their missus may be saying that they don't want to be with them, or their kids, like, yeah, there's a rock bottom. But I think if you're waiting for that rock bottom, then it's too late. In my opinion.
yeah. So when you said you'd done that dry January, did you drink again after that, or was that it? Did you just
N-
have you just made the decision and then stuck at it and
Yeah. So the dry Jan, so the 1st of Jan, 2021. I was planning to start again in March, which was our holiday to Lanzarote, which got cancelled due to, like, I don't know, COVID and all that jazz. But yeah, I was planning to start again in February. But we, like, when I had that row and that, like, realization from the missus, that was in the February. So yeah, from that 1st of Jan 2021, I'm like, cool, this is it. So yeah, I've never done anything ever like since then. So it's pretty mad. And I still, I still think that I still think that it's going to get better, because, like, I think there's a difference within sobriety. I think that you can still be sober and hate it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think you have to, like, for me, sobriety is the middle piece. So you still need to build a life that you don't need, like, do you know what I mean? You still
yeah,
need to
yeah,
build a
yeah,
life around it. Otherwise, you just you're just sober, but without doing anything. So, like,
yeah.
you might as well fucking drink. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's like, I think we had this conversation on your podcast, but that's probably why that's why I went out the other week. It was because I hadn't seen it was a family sort of get together with my cousin had a baby and they were going out to wet the baby's head, and I'd never seen anyone for probably years, most of my mum's side of the family. So it was a good chance to catch up with some of them. That was the main reason I went out. So I was just that was my next question actually. Why do you think most people drink? Do you think it's culture or like society or
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think that there's a stat now between, like, the latest 18 to 25-year-olds. I think there's a quarter of them, 25-28% of them don't actually drink. Um, so could it be generational? I think our generation uh, uh, are probably the last generation that really fucking got on it. We're
yeah,
massive binge drinkers. We're massive, like, it kind of all or nothing vibe. Yeah, I think there's yeah, uh, they're we, because I'll include me in that. We're trying to fill a void. So whether that be boredom, whether that be loneliness, whether that be stress, anxiety, depression, whatever your void is, um, because the excuses, or I chat to men every day, and the excuses are always, I've tried everything, and that's a lie. Because I think the words that I've tried everything is just an excuse they're sticking to, and a story they're sticking to around, I actually don't want it that much. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't want to give up that. I haven't got that much of a drive in me to give up yet. Um, and I think the fact, mate, it's so well marketed as the UK culture of commiseration, celebration, whatever it fucking will be. It's so well marketed. We've put it on a pedestal. If you said to me, and again, it's out there. If you said to me, Marcus, we're going to create this drug, right? And it's responsible for 7 different cancers. It's going to reduce your brain size. It's, dementia, etc., etc. It's really fucking bad for you. And you're going to pay for it every weekend. Like it wouldn't be, but because
today, exactly.
but because we glamorize it, and it's this, it's the end of the week, and it's almost like that. We put it up on that pedestal of how fucking good this magic bottle is. But the truth is, it's I can't. I'm not going to sit here and preach, but the truth is, it's a poison, right? And we are paying for the pleasure to make ourselves feel shit. And until I understood that, and I'm like, yeah, actually, and I never, the people that say they've got control over it are fucking liars, because you can't and I, people may shoot me down, but like moderation is like what you're trying to still moderate. If you're moderating, the control is not with you, it's with that thing. It's with the booze still, because you're trying to control something that's uncontrollable, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, if you were like an alien and you come down from space to Earth, and you're like, and you're seeing what everyone was doing, it just wouldn't make any sense, would it? Like,
No.
I think the reason that we do it is because like our parents have done it, or like it's peer group, isn't it? Like you say, the younger generation aren't really getting into it, but it's probably because like their friends aren't doing it, and like it's like it's who you surround yourself with, innit? It's like
yeah. And when you say about that as well, it's like people like who I work with, and people who I like that can't get over the fact that I don't go to the pub no more. And because it's again ingrained in our culture, I think they're like, oh, but I still want to have fun. And I'm like, okay, cool. You still want to have fun? Okay, so what are you doing in the pub then? With people that are talking about their past a lot of the time, and the same shit over and over again. I guarantee you don't see many millionaires in Weatherspoons on a Friday night. And I'm not being a complete snob, but I'm going to challenge it and say I bet you don't, because there's a clip for you. probably get me cancelled. But the reason I'm saying that is because I think that, like something like, I can't remember that saying, like something show me my future, and I'll basically saying, okay, cool, exactly what you said, like the network stuff and who you're hanging about with matters. I don't hang about in the pub because it's not fun. If I'm going to watch football, maybe, but I honestly can't remember the last time I chose to go in the pub unless it was for food.
So obviously, I like to give, well, the whole point of doing this podcast is to like help people, like give people little insights and tips and tricks and stuff that they can take away, regarding like mental health and stuff. And obviously there's nothing I've done in the past few years that's had a better impact on my mental health than not drinking. Did you have any like problems with your mental health while you were drinking, and did you notice?
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Like, the fact is I was on high doses when I was going through. I went through a big breakup, big divorce, and throughout that, I've been on different antidepressants, and with the antidepressants, you're not supposed to drink on them.
Yeah.
Is pretty much like they don't fucking work if you do. Yeah. So, but also like alcohol is a depressant as well. So there's a couple of things that stood out there is like, yeah, I mean, I've got pictures of me and sending to my mate. I don't know if this was a cry for attention or a cry for like, fuck, I need help. But like, I was seeing a counsellor for quite a lot of time throughout, and that was interesting because the counsellor was fucking incredible, a lady called Michelle. But I was seeing her, but I was pretty much repeating the same patterns over and over again because I was just going to her and saying, "Oh, I feel like this, I feel like that." And the hardest thing I ever done, and took pretty, for me, it was pretty ballsy, but like I come across quite confident, but that's how I am online. I open and honest. I'm not as confident as maybe I sound, but I'm also vulnerable. I choose to be vulnerable and normal, and like, but what I do is like the vulnerability side of it. Like I'd never split up with a girl before, but in just before lockdown, I was with someone and I was still drinking. This was after my divorce, and I was with someone for about 6 months. And I'd said to my then therapist, I was like, I think I'm gonna split up with this girl tonight. And she was like, okay, this is what you can do. But so I was like, cool, this is what I'm gonna do. And not that I needed my therapist's approval, but what I was gonna do is like I said to her, I'm gonna finish with this girl tonight. And if I need anything, can I message you? And I remember driving home, crying, driving like these fucking country roads, messaging my therapist. And then after that, I just got on it. So like, but I didn't know how I got home. I could have easily just swerved and crashed. Well, that was when my mental health took a really darker turn, and I was still drinking. And yeah, like the worst it got, mate, was like saying to my mum, like I didn't want to be here no more. I was a burden. And I think my mental health, like I did nothing for 5 or 6 years good for my mental health. So I didn't journal. Like my therapist encouraged me to write down 3 wins a day, but I didn't journal. I didn't exercise. I didn't eat right. I didn't talk to myself right. All I did was destroy my body, destroy my mental health, and really destroy myself, as in like the way I talk to myself, the way. And it got that much that, I told my mum I didn't want to be in anymore. I was a burden. And then one day, like at work, I sent my mates or my drinking buddies. Everyone who I'd planned to go out with that night just said, I can't make it. And I felt it was me. It was all about me, as you do when you're drinking. And then I just turned my phone off. And I don't know why I turned my phone off, but I like hoping I don't know, like it was a cry for help again.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I was on the way home and I drove and I just pulled up and I was like, what if no one gets in? And literally, like it's like 3 hours and
yeah,
turned my phone on and there's still no messages. And I'm like, what am I doing? But yeah, so mental health like just took a massive dark turn. And like, I suppose I was going through a divorce, but for me, it's just like I can't have a magic wand. I can't wave a magic wand. And I am in this space now because of that. And I am able to talk to you because of what I did.
yeah,
So I think it's, again, looking at the good stuff that's come from it. And there's been more good stuff than bad stuff that come from a divorce. And I think it, for everyone that listening, that's quite a big take home, because I think that all I did was destroy my body. But like, it's looking at it's looking at what have you gained from this, like, because I essentially, like that relationship that I had broke down, and but I made it more about everything. It's me. I'm shit. I'm this. I'm that.
and
And
then
that,
you think the only way to deal with it is to have a drink, isn't it? That's what most people do, isn't
yeah.
it?
And
Yeah,
and to be honest, it worked. Like the booze is my best friend, like,
to the
and
warm
my
up.
only friend. Until
Yeah,
it don't, until it
yeah,
does, until it doesn't. And you've got 2 choices then. Either do what you shouldn't, as in like finish, like take your own life, or do the and it's all about your habits. Like my daily habits were just terrible. All I wanted to do was either drink or be in my bedroom and with my
Yeah,
covers over my head. So
I think
basically, not face the world.
I think most people like myself from my experience, like they want to deal with it. They don't want to end their lives. Do you know what I mean? They just don't know what to do. And I
Yeah,
think obviously, like I say, by doing like podcasts and stuff like this, and it like even if people just take away one little insight that they could like sort of implement into that like into their lives and like start doing. Do you know what I mean? I think
yeah,
that's what I'm hoping to get out of doing like stuff like this. So, like for if there's anyone listening, like and they're not ready to like go sober or anything yet, what's a tip that you could give them that they could do? Like I think you mentioned before, like just your therapist said to write down the three wins every night. What would advice would you give someone that like a tip or a tool that you'd use to
yeah. Good
obviously
question.
if they weren't willing to stop drinking? Because obviously that is the number one thing, like I said before, by far that's benefited my mental health, like without a doubt.
Yeah, and you've done some, some crazy shit. You took on the lap this year. You've been to Everest Base Camp, and these are crazy challenges. Would you be able to train or do them with
Nah,
booze in
absolutely
your life?
no.
It for me, like one of the big things, and I I think the question you have to ask yourself personally is like, it's all, in my opinion, it's all about identity. I made myself someone who was like like the class clown, the comedian. I used to tell shitloads of shit dad jokes when I was pissed up, and my identity, it became around that person. And I think that knowing who you are without booze is one of the and this is, even if you're not ready to give up, is understanding who you are without the booze. So who is Dan Grieve without the booze is like important for me. It's like almost giving yourself a statement um of like, who is Marcus Jones without the booze, who's Dan without the booze. It's like giving yourself a statement. I am a loving uncle, an empathetic, sincere person who cares, maybe a bit of a people pleaser, but having like a statement of who you are without the booze, I think is like key, because it then sort of rebuilds an identity. Because a lot of people base their identity and who they are around an external, external, externally from the booze. So like, oh, but I'm more confident, I'm de-stressed, etc., etc. But none of that is true, is it? Because it's all false, because of you're using something externally to make you feel better internally, or however you feel. Like that external drug that you're using is not actually who you are. So that's what I would say, is making sure like they know who they are. Because I'll be honest, until I've done this work, I didn't know who I was without alcohol, because
Yeah,
I'd never fucking had that. I'd always had alcohol. So I'd always used it as something, that void that we're trying to fill, as something, I I believe it was like confidence thing for me massively. Like I think I mentioned it quite a lot on some of the podcasts I've done. Is like, I thought it made me like A, really fucking funny, and B, like God's gift to women. When really looking overhead and asking myself, actually, I'm pretty funny, but I'm not God's gift to women, and I'm still not. But I'm happy in myself, and that's what that's what I've taken away. A lot of it is like, as you know, like if you're not great with yourself, then you can't be fucking great with anyone,
yeah. So outside of like I say, moving away from like alcohol, what would the what tip would you give someone, personal development wise, what they could do to help with their mental health other than not drinking?
Move. Get
Move, yeah,
yeah, mate. Like,
yeah,
uh, not drinking has saved my life, but movement is like,
movement is medicine, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, hundred
like
percent.
Luke says, movement is medicine. Like, moving is like, oh, it's a game changer. And obviously, from the goat himself, who's done base camp and done like ultra, I have
I
picked up.
failed it both, by the way.
Yeah, we didn't fail. You just like they just
I learned. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And I think that's right. Like, I mean, 99% of the people, I definitely wouldn't choose to do Everest Base Camp. I don't think I've got. Again, maybe that's negative self-talk, which we're not on about. But like, the fact that you even put yourself in for these is, and this is it, isn't it? Like, this is another thing that's hit home. Really, is like putting yourself towards them, and even if you don't hit them challenges, you still walked in like Nepal. Do you know what I mean? You still like
yeah,
done big treks in Nepal,
yeah.
right? And you still done 33 miles of the great
The wall.
of the wall, like Hadrian's Wall, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
so, which is mega.
It's
You know,
mad.
that's,
I couldn't have done it if I was still drinking, like, and if I was
yeah,
still the way I was, if I was still like playing the victim, like a few
yeah,
years ago, 2020, I was just waiting for someone to come along and help us when. So, like in 2021, I started taking action and doing it for myself. But like I say, a big part of that was obviously having the energy to do it, but the
yeah,
energy came from not drinking every weekend. So,
yeah.
I saw you're blowing smoke up my arse for doing all the running, but you've done a couple of ultras yourself, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's this. I'm saying that's just this year. It's pretty mental. Like, I've done 2 ultras this year, and yeah, I'm mate. So like, I don't know if you've seen, like, literally as that half hour. I know you've been busy today, so half hour before. So I've just been like, this is pretty mad. Like, so I've just been signed up as an ambassador for Runner as well. You know, Runner.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. There's like an app, isn't it? Is it like
yeah.
yeah.
So like, that's what I've used for my training.
Right?
Like my race plans and things like that. You know, my training plans. But yeah, that's pretty mega news. Like, but yeah, like for me, running, it's not just about the fitness. It's really like for my mental health. And when we spoke about movement in medicine and things like that, I think that you know, for people that are listening, it is all, and we're not saying go and run ultra marathons. We're not saying go and do this and this. But what we are saying is like challenging yourself, right? So like this year I've done 2 ultras, you know, 2 different ultras. One was along the Jurassic Coast, and one was a flat along the Thames. You know, there was 5 hours difference. One was 60k, which was the Jurassic Coast. It was supposed to be 58, I think, but it ended up 60. And then the Jurassic one was 50k, but completely flat. And one took me 5 hours 55. The other took me 11 hours.
Just
But
because it was so hilly and stuff.
yeah, so hilly. But what I'm saying is, like, did I ever think about, like, in my drinking heyday, did I ever think, like, the nearest I would run to was the bar, you know? And I think it's like September 2020 was like when I started, like, I think my first mile, and I've got it somewhere, it was like 14 minutes. I probably you and I could walk that now. 14-minute mile. We could probably walk that. But I think, you know, for people that are listening, and like movement, it can seem like a hard thing, but there's so many like great apps like Couch to 5K. There's so many good stuff out there that you can just, I don't know, just start by walking. Like and it doesn't have to be, you know, like, I think that people, for instance, I'm going to use you again, like Everest Base Camp, right? You don't climb Everest Base Camp by like you know, it's all about one fucking step in front of the other.
Yeah.
You can't climb mountains without taking the first step. and I think that, you know, we overcomplicate things. You know, start by climbing, trying setting a goal to climb Snowdon, you know, or whatever your Everest base camp is. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
about, like, for some people, 5K might be as much as a marathon. And look, if you said to me 6 years ago, you'll be running, you know, I've nearly run 800 miles this year, I'd have fucking, I was, do me a favor. And I think I'm a believer of, like, when you get your mental health sorted and your self-respect, I do believe anything is possible. I truly believe that.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny what you're saying there about the 5K being hard. It's what's mad is I done the wall, which I think I got like 31 miles in. My longest training run before that was like 36 and a half miles. Obviously I dropped out at mile 31 on the wall, but I prefer longer. I think it's easier to run further, slower, because after I'd done the wall, I'd done a couple of 5Ks, done like a few park runs,
Yeah.
and I found them horrible. Like trying to run faster, I was like, they were so hard. I didn't like them at
Yeah.
all.
It's so interesting because I think that I'd say, like, and even though I was on my feet for what, nearly 12 hours, yeah, I probably agree with you. Like that ultra in July or whatever, June, May, or whatever it was, I was finding it was, like, really enjoyable. It was really, really enjoyable.
There's
'Cause
moments. There's definitely when I done the wall, there was moments like where, like I say, when you're going slower, you're taking things in and that. Whereas when
yeah,
you're trying to just run fast, it's like yeah, it's just horrible. You're just in pain, aren't you? And it's just like you
yeah,
can't wait for it to be over.
and
But I
and that's the same as, like, I've gone from doing, like, road running, and obviously I still do it, and I'm training for the London Marathon next year, but I'm still, like, I've gone from doing road running, and a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, why don't you try trail running?" I found a new love for, like, trail running because of, you know, as you've just mentioned, like, I think it's easy when you're doing, like, road running and getting caught up in, like, times and PBs and all that jazz. It's easy to get lost in, like, oh fuck, I haven't done it again. But when you're trail running and you're not training specifically for a time, as you've just mentioned. The beauty around when you're trail running is unreal. Like, I just ran a marathon in, like, my village, and, like, there's like quite hilly. I've got like a heath in my. Some of it's hilly, and I've just stopped in a farmer's field, ate bacon sandwich, because you can eat what you want as well. Like, it's honestly, like, I think I'm a changed man in terms of, like, the running road. I love London, and I'm so grateful I'm in London next year. But yeah, like, trail running for me is changed the game.
that through dog event, was that the same sort of route that we did when we done? Sorry, that the ultra marathon, was that the same sort of route that we did when we did the through dog event? Was that the same? The Jurassic Coast?
Yeah.
That was very.
So yeah, it was like Durdle
hilly.
Door. It was like, oh man, it was. I'm not great with heights, right? And, like, some of that is I don't. I shouldn't really admit this, but I'm going to. So I went back there in. I took my wife was my fiance was there for the run, but we also went back there for my birthday this year. Okay, so when I was running the coast, I just, even though I've just said you had a great time to look up, which I did
At moments, yeah.
at moments, but I was quite focused on, like, moving forward, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm going to admit now that when I went back for my birthday, I had to. So we were walking along a cliff, and I had to go up and around instead of around the cliff, because it's fucking scary. And that was like, and I was like, but I beat myself up a little bit, because I'm like, I've ran like longer than we're going to walk today. Yeah, I think our walk was going to be 16K, and I ran 60K. Yeah, you know, and I'm like, but I think the way the running did to me was like I had to do it because I had to complete it. Whereas like I had a choice, like with my missus, I could just like go, yeah, it's mental. Anyway, but I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because yeah, I think I'm a really a big fan now of the trail stuff because you get to see beautiful places, and
Yeah.
UK is beautiful.
Yeah. So movement, that's your biggest tip, take home
Out of
for
all of
anyone.
that, yeah, movement.
Yeah, anyone who's not willing to quit the drink anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is, as I said, that's my biggest thing about why I wanted to start the podcast, so that people could get little take homes and stuff. I'm interested to know why you decided to start your the Boost the Better podcast.
Yeah, I think it was more of like a selfish kind of thing for me. Is like obviously when I had you on and things like that, it's just really to be a bit nosy into other people's lives and what drives them, what, you know, because, you know, my reason for giving up booze will be different to your reasons maybe, and like you're lucky to have a beautiful family, so like they're they get to see the best you, like you know, I'm sure when you had the aftermath of drinking the other week, like they probably didn't see the best you, but I think for me to start this pod was like to see why, because like, you know, you asked me why, and I think a lot of that is to do with at the time I just felt like gradually things get better and better, you know, and all success or progress is never linear, is it? But I started to feel something, and I think that, you know, that what booze does is like makes you feel more of the feels, and you know, you can't numb it. But yeah, I just really, it's to get other people's stories, and because, you know, not everyone drank the same as me, like binged the same as me, had that really bad like the bad relationship as I did, but and there will be people that do, but I also think that it's all personal to that person as well. So I think it's good to like, because my story is my story, right? And it's like personal to me, and I think I had it the worst, but other people, you know, I know other people have had it worse, and it's nice to hear other people's story, and also it gives me a chance to like network and share amazing people's stories. Like I said to you off air, like your story has touched many people, like more than you probably imagined at the time. But you know, yeah, because it was so deep, honest, and raw. I think that, and you were vulnerable. I think that then like just fucking touches people where maybe some of the people that are more well known, they're like, oh well, you know, yeah. I'm just intrigued to hear other people's, and it gives me, again, selfishly, it gives me a chance to be better on with the mic. It gives me a chance to be better on video, and creates content to help others. And I think that's, you know, like predominantly while we're both doing it is to help others. You know, like this takes, as we both know, this takes a lot of time, like with the editings, with getting bookings, with doing, and I think it, you know, it's really to help others. And like, I would rather help others by them hearing our stories than being where I was, you know, driving like a twat, like basically on the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think you unknowingly have inspired me to start this podcast. To be fair, I think I don't think I would have done it if I hadn't have been a guest on your podcast, and I've seen how much you've like grown from episode 1 to like where you're at now. Like how many episodes have you done now?
Yeah, so I'm on 36 now, I believe, and it's weird, isn't it? I've brought it back probably since you were on it, I kind of brought it back again. And the reason I brought it back again, like, because as I just explained it, it takes up quite a bit of time. But for some reason, suddenly I started seeing like random listens, and I'm like, well, I haven't produced, or I haven't put one out for a while, and I'm like, there's obviously a want for it or a need for it. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll carry on doing it. And I think Chris Williamson mentioned it, like most podcasts don't last after like 23. I think 23
Yeah,
episodes, is it?
it's if you make it past the top 10%, you're in. If you make it past 10 episodes, you're in the top 10%, I believe. And if you make it past 20 episodes, you're in the top 1%. There's something like 4.5 million podcasts in the world. And like I say, if you just by doing 10, that's my aim for this. I'm going to give it 10 episodes, see how it goes, and then. But yeah.
And I think that it's interesting because you mention it quite a few times to me, and which makes me proud because it means that people are looking at. And I put it in a group I'm in today about like the interesting thing is from Whoop. Like you get these. Obviously, there's a lot of end of year reports going around, and you can choose to believe them or choose not to. But a lot of that, I got a review, and it said consistency. I think I've done over 4.5 million steps this year, which is quite a lot. But the word was consistency, which I was like, and then the woman in one of my groups was like, yeah, the C. Okay, now I don't even know my alphabet. The C in markers is consistency, and I'm like, that's like to be recognised by it. Look, to be recognised by like strangers is beautiful, but to be recognised by peers and people I value, yourself, like Nikki, the woman who mentioned it, means like fuck that people I recognise, like notice. Do you know what I mean? And that's nice.
That doesn't surprise us because I know we were in a accountability group a few years ago.
Yeah.
And you are the most consistent person in that. You're the only person posting every day, and like I would miss a few days, and then I ended up just leaving because I wasn't being consistent. But I think you said at one of the meetups that it got to a point where you were the only one posting.
Yeah, talking to myself.
But like, it doesn't surprise us because, like I said, I think you're one of the most consistent people I've ever met. To be fair, so yeah, it sounds about right.
But I suppose that never was like that. That's not all. I think that's not always been the case. I suppose it's kind of something that I pride myself on now. I mean, I say that when I'm like, I think I'm 45k in this month already with my running because I've signed up to this Advent. Oh, but I haven't signed up to anything. It's me telling me.
Yeah.
So it's me versus me, right? So like tomorrow I've got to do 10k and so on and so forth. But there's also like people like yourself and others that spur me on and like, cool. Well, if and it's even looking at I don't know, celebs, like I think that I can't remember his name, but Spencer Matthews has just done that crazy triathlon, and that triathlon world record, and he's put his body through a lot of shit, and I'm like, there's people out there, the hardest geezer. There's a guy called Marcus who ran 17 years old, ran the whole of the UK, the youngest person ever to do that, and I'm like, if these guys, okay, some of them haven't got a day job as such. But if these guys are doing that, like, what's stopping me? I've done the Goggins challenge. Like I said, I've done 2 ultras. What's stopping me doing, 300k by Christmas Eve? Not much, really. I know I'm busy, as we all are, but I think consistency. People see that the posting that, but consistency, like, for me, is this like kind of. It's been like this, the bed, like embedded in me since working with Paul, since working on myself, really. Because before I'd just let myself down again and again and again, and but then if you let yourself down, who else are you letting down as well,
Yeah.
right?
It's like you say, you never know who's watching, do you? So
No,
if by you doing all them little challenges and by you doing your podcast, you don't know who's listening, who's watching, who you're inspiring. Do you know what I mean? So you just
exactly that.
never know. So yeah.
Absolutely,
Shall
mate.
we start wrapping it up there then, Marcus? That's
Mate,
been class,
lovely.
been inspirational. I hope some people have took a lot away from this podcast. And if you want to know more about Marcus, just honestly listen to his podcast. He's had some amazing guests on. I really recommend it, especially the Dan Grieve episode, because it's
Yeah,
only
mate, that was seriously, yeah,
only
like
what is
definitely,
it, about 10 episodes, but I'm like number 2, so I need about 10 more listens to get to number
mate,
1. So that'll
you're
be
probably nearly number one now, but I think I've had a couple more today, mate. So like, yeah, give it a listen. It was incredible. And like we talk again, probably because Dan's doing it with me, but we talk about how Dan was moments from dying. So there you go. There's another clip there. Dan was moments from dying. So we talk about that. So like, please, like get on that. It was, yeah, like it was such a great episode. And I think you maybe do yourself disservice from it because, you know, it was your first one, but
yeah.
mate, it's almost like you're a natural, like as today, we've talked at length and we haven't really, do you know what I mean? We've just fucking gone on and on and on.
51 minutes, I think now we're at. So it's like,
and you smashed it. And like, I felt great. And you know, you've done amazing. So mate, and to bring this to people's attention is admirable of you, mate. So well done.
No, thanks, mate. Again, I appreciate you doing it, and I'm more than happy to jump on yours again if we want to do it,
mate.
a number 2. So
yeah, let's get you on again.
Class. Thanks again, Marcus.
Mate, I appreciate it, mate. Well done.
Bye.